Phantom Lady Sandra Knight is known by many for her revealing costumes. You had the yellow swimsuit, then the blue swimsuit. They're not actually swimsuits, but they look like that. Her original costume was the yellow one from when she debuted at Quality Comics and Police Comics #1 in 1941. That one was a one-piece, although when it returns decades later, it's gonna have cutouts. Her redesigned costume, the blue one, was when she was moved over to Fox Feature Syndicate, and that one has cutouts. A little red belt. Phantom Lady was a character created by the S.M. Iger Company, formerly the Eisner and Iger Company, and they were creating characters and writing stories that were then published by other comic houses. Her blue costume and look were designed by Matt Baker, one of comics' first successful African-American comic book artists. Now, Fox Features she debuted in 1947, in issue 13 of Phantom Lady, which was taking over the numbering from another series, What a Life Comics. However, there's another blink and you'll miss it version of the blue costume out there, and it comes from the year 1954, where for a tiny bit of time, Phantom Lady was over at Ajax Farrell Publications, because Fox Feature went bankrupt in 1950, and the Phantom Lady was just kind of left around, her stories republished by other companies, and then eventually she settled at Ajax Farrell for a tiny bit. Have her note the year 1954, which means by the time she's about to be republished, the Comics Code has been established. The industry is now regulating itself after all the Senate hearings and the scrutiny. The cover for issue 17 was specifically called out in Seduction of the Innocent, and the code had a very specific set of rules surrounding sexuality and female comportment, and also how they could look. Not only how they could dress, but their proportions. They had to be proportional. And so Phantom Lady's body type and her costume did not pass muster. You actually see the Comics Code approved label appear on the cover of issue 3, but the code had been being written for some time. Now they tone her body type down a little bit, but it's the costume that they really streamline. They take the cutouts away. And so you get to see that more tasteful, in quotes, version of the costume during her Ajax Farrell days, which are very short. She's only in 4 issues, and then in 2 issues as a backup in Wonder Boy, which only had 2 issues. Although in all fairness, I don't think the costume change is why she didn't last too long over at Ajax Farrell. She's reappearing during a time when the superhero genre was struggling. It had already started to decline post-war, and other genres were starting to rise up. You had the wartime comics themselves, horror, crime, romance, sci-fi was really coming up as well. The code coming into play in 1954, and the way that it curbs certain genres plays a part in the return of superheroes and the space that that leaves for them. And then as a result, the coming of the Silver Age. Everything's all interconnected. However, Phantom Lady wouldn't return for decades, and by the time she did, it would be as part of DC Comics, and as a member of a team, and her solo adventures would be even further down the line. Phantom Lady is a character I like a lot. I think that she's fun and has an interesting history. She has time recording been thoroughly integrated into the DC universe. She was even retconned as being Ted Knight, Starman's cousin, because they both have the same last name. And in fiction, if you have the same last name, you can't just have the same last name. They gotta make a big deal about it. Those are the fiction rules. What do you think of Sandra's code-approved costume? And which look for her is your fave? And yes, I know about the blue bullet here, another time.